Hey everyone, it's one day to Halloween where we'll put on costumes and look at ourselves in the mirror. But before we do that, let's talk some multi-plastic kits. And where have they gone, GW? Right after this, quick intro. All right, hey everyone, this is Taste from Blood of Kittens. And let's take a little break from my typical battle reports and talk about something I've kind of noticed. It's a new phenomenon from Games Workshop. Maybe not new, but it's a little more prevalent phenomenon, and that is the lack of multi-kit parts. Now, let's just give a definition of multi-kit parts first. It's basically when we traditionally have gotten kits or something, we get a ton of bits and extra parts to make our models, not just some easy build thing where it's just you only get one way of putting something together, and that's the one shape and one way that can be done. So typically when we buy a kit, we get, say, let's do Stern Guard Veterans. That kit I think is about $50. You get 5 models, but you get a variety of weapon options, choices, just a ton of stuff that you can do to make this unit unique or add to other units elsewhere across, multiple ranges. So what I specifically want to talk about is the slow but steady removal of that. And if you notice the new codexes, a lot of units that are new units are very limited in the options they get, which by in part and extrapolate from this is that also means the kits don't need that many things. So what we're specifically going to talk about, and I've kind of generally talked about this in a couple articles I've written this week about Forge World and about the new combat patrol boxes. Those links are in the description below. So if you like this conversation, then go and click on those links. It kind of continues that. But specifically what I'm going to talk about is these multi-part kits that we're seeing less of from Games Workshop. And the way we know this is just look at the recent releases for Necron Warriors and Skullcrack Lords, or no, sorry, not Lord, the Destroyers. Those two kits are just the Indominate kits. Now, in the past, even with 8th edition, we would get the Intercessor box for when we had the Intercessor box and the Plague Marine boxes that we came with the starter sets were easy fit, put together, one form, one shape, one position, one mold. But we got new kits to go with those, and those were, of course, more expensive than what you would get from an easy build or a simple push fit models, but we get a lot more stuff. But now, Games Workshop is just cutting out the more stuff part and keeping the same price. For instance, the Destroyers are $60 for 3 of them. Snap fit. No other options. Nothing like that. The Warriors themselves are $45 for 10. So that price makes a little more sense, but once again, no options, nothing. And I don't suspect we're going to get more options. And then this weekend, we're going to release of the Outriders, which, judging from the pictures, no change, nothing different, just $60 for 3 bikes that are easy build fit. Now, this trend of having more and more easy build, more and more units like this has been going on, progressively getting more and more. And like I said, in the codexes, you can see that for the newer units, there's get a gun and maybe switch out this one thing, and that's the end-all be-all of it. So this trend of Games Workshop really just limiting our choices is kind of bad. It's kind of not what the hobby has always been, where you just buy a kit, even if it was overpriced, you got 5 extra sprues, 5 extra guns, 5 extra legs, 5 extra heads, so you use them on other models, you do stuff with them, and it kind of just gave customization and kit bashing, a lot more flavor, a lot more, just fun, which, really made the game what it is. So as we move away from that, or it seems like Games Workshop is moving away from that, of course, the reason for doing this is obvious, that it seems is that they're going to be saving money on molds and all that good stuff, so obviously that's, good for them, they're saving on money, but of course, typical GW fashion, they're not passing on that savings to us right now, where even before they'd still kind of pass on that savings because they'd give us easy build kits and they would be cheaper, and they'd still release the brand new version of that. Let's give a good example, the Redemptor Dread. We had the easy build Redemptor Dread, one pose, you could tell the mold was different, he was a little stiffer, and then you could also buy the new kit, spend a lot more, I think it was like $25 more, and get all the bits and all the portions. But right now, we're not really seeing that. Now, this isn't to say that Games Workshop's not going to release that stuff. I hope there might be a Necron kit out there, but I'm not really holding my breath since they just released these kits so quickly right after the Indominus release, and there's no difference. So I'm just really curious to see where this is going, and also, I just don't think we're going to get that many more multi-part kits. And especially if you think about it, if, God forbid, let's not even talk about this, but let's say 10th edition comes around and they kill off the entire old Marine range, we're left with a lot fewer options, a lot less kit bashing, extra sprues, while Games Workshop consolidates sprue counts, molding techniques, and just kind of, milks us for all their margins they possibly can get out of models. Now, sort of in Games Workshop's defense, though, the reason why these things are priced probably so high is because they want to direct you towards the new starter sets, which are actually secretly kind of fantastic deals. I mean, they're not fantastic deals in comparison to the Indominus set, but since we knew Indominus was a limited edition, this makes sense. So for instance, if you get the middle round, I think it's the Elite set, it's $95. You get the Outriders, you get the Warriors, you get the Destroyers, you get some Assault Intercessors, all the stuff that you need to make a really good, strong force. And like I said, that's only $99 or $95 for all that. So obviously, if you go from their price point, if you bought those separately, that'd be like a $200 kit, but instead they're selling it for $95. So it's kind of like a little tricksy thing where they're like, if you really want to buy 3 Outriders, you can pay $50, $60, or you can decide and be smart and just, spend an extra $40 and get a new Elite starter set. So you can kind of see the marketing ploy that they're using here. But at the same time, like I said, and I'll continue to say, we're just getting less bits. And even when we do get, let's say, the Intercessor kit that we're going to get for the Assault Intercessors, what are we going to get? It looks like we're going to get just some extra, close combat weapons. So I just see a lot of reduction in the amount of bits and a lot of extra, little trinkets you can have on units. And that, especially when you get with Xeno armies or armies that are not Space Marines, where there's really no good incentive for Games Workshop to give you a lot of different poses, a lot of different bits. I'm going to guess that we're going to see this continue, especially with the Necrons. All their new kits, for the exception of a few, have been, just from the Dominus set. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go, and I just hope it doesn't go down this road continuously, but Games Workshop wants profits. They want margins to be at certain levels, so I can only think that we can see this more. And, conversely, on an important note about this is that it's also a good thing in a certain sense, because if the easy build kits are out there, I guess their thinking is probably that this is going to be easier for people to get into the game, more younger generation get into this game. And so I can see that kind of point of view Games Workshop would probably give you a retort if you're saying, you're just trying to price gouge us veteran players. They'd say, hey, well, yes, we're trying to price gouge you, but they wouldn't say that. But they would imply that, well, we're getting these easy build kits, and even though we're not making the new fancy Necron Warriors kit with a bunch of bits, we really want players that are getting into the game to have easy access just to push fit, maybe one drop of glue on one thing and be done, spray paint, do some contrast painting. And I think this is the general idea, is that Games Workshop really wants people to have an easier access into the game. And so, in that point of view, these are all understandable benefits, but of course Games Workshop does it ham-handedly, does it in such a way that we are paying out the tooth. What is that saying? You're paying out the neck, paying out the... I don't even know what that saying is anymore. I can't think of it. But anyway, we're paying way too much for what we're getting. And if this trend continues, it's just another kind of nail in the coffin of Games Workshop being more catered towards budget-conscious people and having, this just... like, what's the point of me paying more money for something if I'm not going to get a more greater value of it with having more bits and more parts and all that good stuff? So anyway, that's the end of this rant, if you want to call it a rant. But look out for this. I'm curious to see what people think and curious to see what kind of trends Games Workshop. This is going to be a continuing trend. Of course, I can eat crow, and they'll come out with next month. They'll come out with a new network kit, and it's all the bells and whistles, and they sell it for $60, $15 more than the push fit. But I'm not too sure, because the Outriders and the Destroyers are pretty much the retail price of a multi-part kit that you would get equivalent for those units. So, Games Workshop, I know you want those profits, and I know you want to give those dividends to all your shareholders, but come on, let's think about everyone else, think about the players. So anyway, if you got any value out of this this video, I'm thinking about my blog right now, but anyway, if you got some value out of this, please hit the like and subscribe button. And you know what? I'm going to go to Josh Retreat for the next week. So I probably won't have a video next week because, I'm going to be in the desert and I'm going to avoid this thing called the election as much as I can. So probably won't see me next week, guys, with a battle report or anything. But the week after that, we'll be back to our normal scheduled one weekly YouTube video. So take care, guys, and have a great weekend and great Halloween and great election week, hopefully, for whatever side. hopefully you have a good week. Take care, guys. Bye.